have the chance to have Claudia Schachenmann today with us, who is the founder of Bureau Schachenmann in Zurich, which is an international strategy boutique. She offers high-end concept development and strategies for pioneering art projects at the intersection of art and corporate worlds. With extensive experience in the fields of art and innovation, she has a reputable source in the art market and is a strong leader of innovation projects. With her office, she leads the creative and strategic process from initial idea generation to the implementation of future-focused art initiatives. Thank you very much for being here today, Claudia, and welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and thank you, first of all, to HED and Time to Watch Us for having me. I'm going to take you on a journey about the art of NFT, and I will hopefully show you some opportunities how innovative watch brands can capture opportunities within the NFT market. And I will be giving some example from the creative industries. So let's see. NFTs have been in everyone's mouth since like more than 1.5 years, and for many others, many years earlier. But what are actually the benefits of NFTs, especially also in the art market? So first of all, they offer transparency and security. You have always a digital signature when you have a digital asset that is belonging to someone. So it's like a certificate you have, so you're the only owner. And this is also always traceable in the blockchain. Then another very good effect is the authenticity. So it verifies the ownership. This is very important, especially also with artworks, which are very unique, or digital artworks can also be used with NFTs. Then the accessibility is another very nice side effect of NFTs, because you can have your NFT all the time with you on your device and show it online and offline as long as you have power and most probably also internet. Then the tradability. For the art world, this is also super important because the creators, they get royalties. And this is usually very hard to track in a classical art market. And with NFTs, you will always see you will always be noticed when your artwork changes the owner and you get the royalties back. Then artificial scarcity. This is also important for watch brands, I would assume, because you can make one unique digital asset for a watch, or you can also make editions. So the question here is also, what is the value of something digital if it's not limited? If it's just like kind of never ending, if you can create so and so many pieces of it, it has no value. So this is very a good opportunity for you, also the artificial scarcity. And then I'm gonna talk about new audiences and metatainment a bit more in my presentation. However, these are key assets of NFTs. So if I talk about NFTs, I cannot not talk about the metaverse, because NFTs have been originally used a lot in games. And I would even call it that the metaverse is the rise of a new entertainment economy, because as I said, the background is gaming. Then so far, the metaverse is understood as the evolution of the internet, including all its features like shopping, social media stuff, and also 3D gaming, experiences, and the metaverse might have the blockchain as a backbone in the financial aspect, and as well, NFTs will play a role in there. It's going to probably be a blur between the physical and the digital world. and it might be your marketplace of the future. So a hybrid world demands also hybrid personalities or hybrid identities. As some of you might already observed, Mark Zuckerberg has announced the metaverse, but we all know that Microsoft is working on it. Like, a lot of companies are working on it. And coming back to Meta or Facebook or Instagram, so people already started to use filters and kind of filters on their profile pictures or in their stories. So they already start to change their identities into a direction of a digital identity, which in a metaverse or in games are avatars. So who are basically those people who create those avatars? Who will you find in this new meta world and yes, in this field, basically? In my opinion, these will be like gamers, programmers, crypto millionaires, younger generations, at least for me, from Generation Z, who grew up with the internet. These people, they want to have their assets all the time with them, and they also want to own something from their generation. They also might have more than one digital identity, which means there are more than one consumers in this digital space. Just an example from the art world and from the UBS and Art Basel Art Market Report from 2021. It said that 74% of the high net worth individuals, those are the people who own more than $1 million, 74% have already bought art NFTs. So that's a lot. And also the market from art-related NFTs was up to 4.6 billion in 2019. And in 2021, it was 11.1. So basically it doubled within 2 years. Then I would say there is a rise of a new economy, which is the direct-to-avatar economy. So in the future, you might be selling your products to digital identities, to avatars. Of course, there is often, in most cases, there will be a person behind it. But digital assets are going to be sold to digital identities. And in a social or virtual environment. So in art, fashion, luxury, or art and fashion and luxury have always been a vehicle to express personality. So why shouldn't avatars wear what they bought online and show it around? And they can show it all the time, basically. So this lets me say it to you also, that you have to think another level of omni-channel, because you might have one product, but you have to sell it in different platforms and different formats, which might be digital and physical. And just a reminder, we have now about 3 million 3 million people playing video games already, and this is a platform where digital assets are making sense. Which also made me look at the value chain of watchmakers, and I hope I'm right here. So I think this is the classical value chain of today's. It starts with the creation of the watch, then you have the research and development phase, then you have the manufacturing, marketing, logistics, retail, point of sale part, and then the client relation. Of course, logistics is also before manufacturing and so on. So it has a few layers. However, in the future, that is in the future, probably the creation and the marketing are your focus, and all the physical elements are going to disappear. Of course, not 100%. However, you don't need the R&D. The R&D is already done in the design and digital. So when you sketch your watch, this can already happen in the digital space, and you can show it around there. So then you don't the manufacturing. No, you don't have any physical elements for these watches. The logistics, you don't need elements for watches. Retail point of sale will probably shift. I will tell you after, and the client relation will start much earlier. But if I look into the creation, as I said, the design will happen basically in the digital space. And watch out for co-creation, because your audience or your clients might want to co-create your product, and they might also want to co-own it with partly like elements of NFTs. However, this is also essential for your community engagement. And for the marketing and sales part, the platforms, the sales platforms might be games, social media, and a metaverse. Where you can do collaborations with other brands, with partners, and of course you have to give some meditainment, which I am seeing as a great opportunity for brands. And I also see a lot of new business models you can tap into, business, and also kind of new ideas how to represent you as a brand. I am going to show you now a few examples out of the creative industries that I recently observed. So HES is a gallery which is like basically one of the most leading galleries all over the world. You also have there is a HES in Geneva. HES created this new platform which is called HES-SO, and they're only it's for selling, basically minting, exhibiting, and collecting NFTs. So this is all about NFT, and it's a new marketplace for them. And of course, it caters to a new audience, which they totally understood that this is important. They're also on social media with Discord and Twitter. So just this week, and whoever reads the FT Weekend has probably read in the art section that Jeff Kuhn has announced a art project, an NFT project called Moon Faces, and he wants to send some sculptures to the moon. The details are not yet clear. However, what I found is that also Lamborghini did some artist or art editions. They sent some carbon fiber in this to a space station for 2 years. And they did a scientific project. Then they created this QR code, which you see on the left side of the screen, and this QR code is done out of the carbon fiber, and it's an access key to the image to the right, which shows a Lamborghini with very high resolution pictures or photographs of its element. They're like 1,500, and you can zoom into it and see details like cuts and surprises, whatever a Lamborghini contains. Interesting for the watch world, right? So the background picture, for that, they sent a weather balloon out into the stratosphere, into the end of the stratosphere. And that's what they wanted to capture, the curving of the Earth. So this 5 NFTs were sold at an auction, and the highest bid was $200,000 US. It was sold at MR auction, which is a kind of for a car auction house. Talking about auction, and also, but now the Sotheby's auction, which is for fine arts and antiques. So this is now running. It's till Monday. It's an auction of the players of the Liverpool Football Club. So they made a collaboration. It for sure reminds you of sticker albums. However, this guy here, he's called Jürgen Krupp, and he's the man's first team manager. Currently, this morning, this lot was like 17,000 for something you're gonna buy this one, And it's a surprise, like with the stickers, you open it, it's a surprise, and it might contain some unique experiences. You can be part of a club. As you can see, you can be part in competitions. Yeah. So it has a lot of kind of cool entertainment elements. So if you're interested, tomorrow 3 o'clock, you can go to Sotheby's website and see what's happening there. I also want to talk about the gamification, because this is Louis Vuitton, and for their 200 years anniversary, they created a game. And Vivian, this avatar, she collects 200 candles in the game, and each candle releases a story from their story of Louis Vuitton and the Maison Louis Vuitton. But they also included 30 NFTs, so total gamification of a brand narrative. Also, part of the gamification and a little bit of more hybrid is this Hublot. It was a Tag Heuer watch. They collaborated with Nintendo and created this watch, which contains Super Mario, and he tracks your performance. And if you perform like really well, you get some rewards and surprises. Yes. Another thing about hybrid experiences is this kind of NFT treasure hunts. Basically, you go to an event, you sign in, and you get the approval of attendance, and then you're sent to other places where you get some goodies and surprises. And with that, you're minting NFTs, and the company who does it can also create some contests and so on. So it's a lot about audience engagement. Also, another option is wearables and, of course, superpowers. This is a Louis Vuitton and League of Legends collaboration. So they created these in-game skins, and also at the same time they created a capsule collection, which you see to the right side, with watches, bags, clothes. This is also in the fashion. We have the moment of the dematerialization, because fashion was a lot, like it created a lot of waste, and now they needed to find new solutions to do fashions, and this is happening now in games. It's also about creating this digital twins of a product, so people can wear it in real life, but also show it off in a digital world. Game skins are expected to reach 50 billion by this year, so it's a market. Then virtual showroom, or here, this is the Gucci garden. So Gucci created this also very game-like virtual environment where players could spend between $120 till like $9 on collectibles and kind of digital accessories, and some were also for free. And I'm showing this because what I think is really interesting as a brand, you can also kind of do some analytics with your audience while creating a digital space and experience from them. So you have real data that is actually available for you. I don't know who read about it, but it was all over the media. There was the Metaverse Fashion Week this week, and about 60 fashion brands were participating, and 500 looks were showed. Basically, this fair just in a digital space and with a bit more kind of entertainment, I would say. My last one is actually my favorite one. This is little Michaela. She has a life on Instagram. She is a robot. Basically, the users, the Instagram followers, create her. So she sets she makes stories and asks the audience what she should wear, what she should do next, and the audience sends her to the shrink. They send her to eat ice cream. They tell her what to dress. So this is really co-creation. And Brut, the company who creates her actually, they launched like 5 NFTs, and those were given to the audience as a kind of a present. And you can see one in the middle, and little Michaela, she wears this dress with, it's full of comments of the people online. So, and she also has some friends, and she has a total of 3 million followers. That's a lot on Instagram. And she is not even a real person. So, my key takeaways also here for you. Basically, it's very important for brands to have to use their singular narrative and singular story on multiple platforms, and also have like more than one appearance, like have a digital identity, and that is kind of part of their narrative. And then just because everyone is like, okay, how do we do this? I would recommend to do partnerships with metaverses, game developers, but also you need a legal entity which can support you. Exactly. And then don't forget about the gamification of your narrative. So make it playful for your audience. And also include your audience into the kind of creation process with co-creation and also co-ownership. Just give them a little bit of an NFT to own a bit of your watch, or it depends how you want to play around with the scarcity. Then 2 elements which I think are very essential nowadays is basically the energy efficiency. This is kind of something you need to pay attention. Lamborghini showed, like with the example I showed, they had like announced how much whatever they needed to do their mission with their NFT. And so as we all know, this is important nowadays. And I think also the positive impact in basically giving back to charity, to donations, plays a huge role here, I think. So my conclusion is basically, or strategic vision for watchmakers is maybe in a way of thinking, maybe think more like someone who creates hybrid experiences and entertains with a digital identity instead of just being a watchmaker. And I tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. There is like tons of options. I showed a few, but I think there are many more out there. So thank you very much. That was it from my side.
I guess now we have some time for some questions. Thank you very much, Claudia,
You're welcome.
your intervention. Does anybody have questions?
Give to the audience, no problem. Me, what was very interesting about is when you spoke about like the changing of the development. For example, said that with NFT we don't have to develop the R&D, the logistics, all this kind of client. But what the key point is gonna be like the marketing, which means that it's gonna be way harder. And this is what we can already see it on collection development in NFT. People try to target on Discord and things like this, but it will be very, very hard. Do you have like kind of any advice or vision about what will be like the next kind of marketing, as it's gonna be like extremely competitive?
I think you just mentioned it. It's like on social media and in basically the metaverse worlds or the virtual world in general. I think it's also all with the NFTs. I feel like it's a huge playground and it's like trial and error. There is no kind of rule how you should do it, but obviously like there are certain platforms like Twitter and
Discord,
thank you. Yeah, which definitely talk to that audience already. But also those have to be administrated in a different way than, for example, Instagram.
but it's not the same kind of generation. How do we crystallize this kind of generation from like the 60s or 70s in this world with Discord? It's something used by a very, very young generation. So what's going to happen in terms of the customer that's now buying like contemporary art or very luxury art? And because it's gonna be, to my point of view, very hard to crystallize them into the Discord thing, which is very gaming element. Are they going to do the shift, or is it going to be like completely new type of customer?
I think we all have to learn to kind of work in this digital space, and it's a decision eventually of the user to be either you want to participate, and of course, what I'm seeing also, there are many new consultancies growing out of the ground that will also give some advice on how to approach your audience in the 60s or there, and I think this is going to happen. But of course, they need to kind of be educated about it.
Is there any question from the audience?
Hello, thank you very much. It was very interesting. What do you think of influencers? As in, you talked about little, what's her name? Little Chloe?
No, Little Michaela.
Little Michaela.
Yeah.
Okay, she's an avatar or a robot, but
Yeah.
what do you think about physical influence? Should they be stars, or should they be young people who are trendy in their circles and in their communities?
I mean, it's probably not on me to have an opinion about is this a star, but I find it very fascinating, and a lot of like 3 million people also find it fascinating. And definitely those people come from another generation. And I think it's just their world because they grew up in the internet and they grew up with Instagram, with social media. It's just what they always experienced. So for them, it's quite a normal experience. It's still fascinating. But I think in the future, we will also have more Michaelas, basically. And because it's also, she's like a platform, right? And she's also kind of a trend barometer because you can, like, the audience tells her what to do. So it's kind of, you see what they like. And so I think it's kind of like, for many reasons, she's very interesting to observe.
Does anybody else ask questions?
In your imagination, could you give us an example of a watch or of a watch brand which wants to start a project? And can you give us the travel of the watch from the idea to the client?
Who? I don't know anyone, or I cannot speak about anyone.
In your imagination.
Yes, I can totally imagine it. I can, because if it's happening in the fashion world, which is about luxury assets, then I'm definitely sure it's going to happen in the watch world, because also the watches, which is about movement, and you can zoom into a watch, like the Lamborghini example, right? You have all these technical elements which are so well shown in that. So it's a different experience. It's almost going to a museum and looking into the elements of the watch. So I think there is for sure an opportunity, and also with the narratives of watch brands, because they have like very strong brand narratives, and to put this in an experience could be amazing.
But I'm sorry, but I don't see the watch. Can you describe the travel of the watch from the idea to the client?
So you basically mean how it's designed? So basically the designer is already creating the digital watch, right? As of now. I mean, of course, he might sketch something first, but then this is also translated into a digital program. So, and this digital program will then be already in another digital program. So you don't need to produce the watch. You just need to have the great idea and draw it.
Okay, but take an example. Take just an example. You have a watch brand. They have physical watches. They decide to go into your world, okay? They design a project, a sketch. That's number one, right? Yeah. Number two, number three, number four, number five. What are the steps?
Okay, I think we have a discussion about this afterwards, because I cannot tell you the steps, because I told already in my presentation, you have to work with partners who are experienced in the meta world, who are game developers, because they have a way different thinking than a watch brand has. And what I'm telling is basically you have to adapt your thinking towards a more gamification way of using watches also.
Okay, so it means we have to find a partner, right?
Yes, 100%.
That's the point.
Yes, and also for the legal part.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We can also continue the discussion, but
Okay.
definitely there are many
Okay.
elements you need
Okay.
partners for.
Okay.
Very
Thank
essential.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess we are out of time right now. I'm sorry. So thank you very much, Claudia, for your presentation.
Welcome.
It was really a pleasure to have you here. La prochaine présentation se fera en français. On aura la chance d'avoir Guillaume Helleux ici qui vient venir nous parler de l'horlogerie à l'ère des NFT. Elle sera à 16h30. Merci.